When it comes to Shuichi, a lot of people like to criticize his character. Whether it be the person going off of their first impressions, calling Shuichi a bitch, a kaneki clone, or even a simp. And it's come to a point where some people won't even give the show a chance because they don't like its main character. And if you are one of those people, I'm gonna do my absolute best to try and change your mind. Alright, so Shuichi's a bitch. I can buy that. I can understand why anyone would say that off their first impressions, because honestly, when I first saw Gleipnir, I didn't like him either. But when it comes to Gleipnir episode 2 of the anime, or Gleipnir chapter 4 of the Gleipnir manga, if we look back at this situation where Shuichi did not do anything, even though he did not want Hikawa to die, he just didn't do anything. It's a pretty bitch move to allow something to happen when you ultimately don't want it to happen in the first place. And I think we can all agree on that, because clearly Shuichi did not want Hikawa to get killed, and he didn't do a single thing to stop it, or so we think. Because when we look at it through our first impressions, we would think that Shuichi is being a bitch and not doing anything to prevent Hikawa from dying. But in actuality, can you pick up that cup? Sure, that's easy. Huh? I can't. Move! I'm stopping you. Looks like I've got more control. And with that being said, Shuichi could not do anything to stop Claire from killing Hikawa, because Claire has more control over Shuichi's body once she's inside of him. And when looking at Gleipnir for the first time, you wouldn't know this information, so you would initially think that Shuichi is a bitch character. But even then, the situation runs a lot deeper than we'd think, because Shuichi wasn't doing anything. So, his body wouldn't be moving. So him not doing anything was actually him trying to prevent Claire from killing Hikawa. And this would work because, let's say your body is moving, right? So if your body's moving, you would stop moving so that your body could no longer move. And this is what Shuichi was doing in this situation. He was not doing anything in hopes of stopping his body from moving in this situation at hand. Because when you first look at that scene, you're immediately thinking, or at least this is what I thought, oh my fucking god, why is this guy not doing anything? But he was not doing anything in order to stop Claire from killing her. And at the end of it all, Shuichi continues to develop as a character, and all the problems that he's faced, all the conflicts that he's taken part of, he still faces these problems head on. When Shuichi and Claire are about to face Elena, Shuichi insists that he should go by himself so that he can confront Elena. And he does this after knowing damn well how dangerous Elena is, because by smelling her uniform, he could recognize the scent of blood. And with that blood, he could sense Elena's bloodlust. And with that being said, Shuichi would know just how easily he could get killed, but he would still push on to face Claire's sister. And not only that, but when helping Yoshioka search for her wallet, Shuichi would smell the scent of another collector. And yet despite how terrible, despite how knowing how outclassed he is by this collector, Shuichi would still push on facing certain death, which would literally eventually happen seconds afterwards. But I guess Shuichi's a bitch main character. A bitch main character would have run away the minute they caught the scent of the other collector. So I have to disagree when it comes to all these criticisms about Shuichi's character. And I can say without a doubt that Shuichi is not a bitch character at all. Because when you first look at his character, when you come looking at Gleipnir through your first impressions, you do not have all the context that leads to the situations that are happening in the story. And you are ultimately looking at Shuichi's character through a perspective of ignorance. Shuichi faces his problems head on, and he's even trying to redeem himself throughout the story from all the events that occurred. But no matter how many of my memories disappear, the sins I committed won't. Because of that, I want you to tell me about them. I feel that inside those memories I lost, there's something in them that could tell me how to redeem myself. And by standing up and facing his sins head on, he's a bitch character? Something just does not make a lot of sense here. Whether it be me trying to objectively judge this character or between the opinions of others who ultimately don't understand this character and are going off their first impressions and just labeling this main character as if he's a shitty, bitchy main character. A kaneki clone, so to speak. Although I'd argue that he isn't a bitch character either. And not only that, when it comes to the character development of Shuichi, everyone is acting like Tokyo Ghoul invented character development. I forgot that whiny characters could no longer be whiny. I forgot that in a story, a character could change. Even if it wasn't as drastically as it happened in Tokyo Ghoul, I don't think this comparison is completely necessary because Shuichi and Kaneki both develop under completely different circumstances. And I even broke down the torture of Kaneki and how his character ultimately changed. And you can also check out my video on that in my Kaneki Torture Explained video. And a link to that will be down below in the comment section. It will be pinned. And with that being said, the way both of their characters shift, develop, and ultimately change throughout the story, they're completely different.